folks, my name is Mark, and this is Why I Hate the World. And this is about the Occupy Wall Street movement and, what lies in the future for it and where I think, me personally, where I think it should go from here. So it's been about 2 months since the Occupy movement began, and by this time, however, most of the large movements in the country have already been shut down. There was like in New York and in Denver and Oakland, that was highly publicized. Lots of police brutality going on in Oakland. Guy pepper spraying people, shit like that. And the last remaining large protest was cleared out a few days ago here in Los Angeles. Something like 1,500 cops showed up to clear out 700 people, right? And to their credit, though, in LA, they tried to negotiate a lot, and the protesters didn't take it. They offered them an office building and a bunch of other things, and they didn't want it. But that's the idea. That's kind of the idea, was to force them to deal with you. Like not to negotiate. And I kind of commend them for that. Not giving in and forcing the cops to come down and arrest them. It's like sort of what it's all about. But anyway. But the fact is, there's still some large other notable protests out there happening in many cities around the country. But most of the large cities have been pretty much shut down, and it looks like that the movement has begun to peter out a little bit because of these crackdowns, right? And in the United States, at least. I know that the movement is spread across. It's in a dozen or so countries around the world, and I can't really speak to those, but in the United States it looks like that it's starting to fizzle out a bit, because everybody's been fucking arrested, right? All the places, all their stuff's been fucking confiscated, and it's starting to die down a little bit, which is kind of sad. But now, in response to that, the attitude that I'm seeing, keep in mind this is, adjust this a little. Keep in mind, this is just me going on the internet and talking to people and watching videos and going on boards. I go to several different chat rooms and boards and things where I talk politics with people and make fun of, conservatives. That's my main thing. I make fun of conservatives and Nazis and libertarians and shit. But anyway, what I've been seeing is, besides my professional internet trolling on political boards, right, which is just a hobby of mine. We all gotta have hobbies. What I'm kind of seeing, though, is the there's a lot of frustration from the Occupy people that are into this movement, and they're kind of they're really frustrated. And they're saying that nothing really happened. They went out and they protested, and nothing changed, and the whole thing is ineffectual, and and protesting with your signs and shit like that is not effective. Nobody cares, right? And I have to disagree with that, okay? Because I think that the Occupy movement was highly effective in doing what its objectives were. This type of protest is really good at getting your message on the table. Setting the agenda is what this kind of protest is really good at, and I think that the Occupy movement did that really well. Getting people to talk about your issue. And if you remember in 2009 and 2010, when all the conservatives and the right-wingers and the libertarians and shit came out and started the Tea Party movement, right? And they came out to protest, right? And it was in reaction, mainly, me personally, I think it was in reaction to having a black president, but that's just, my own theory. But really, it was officially, it was kind of like a reaction to the healthcare debate. Remember that? They started debating the healthcare bill, and all the Tea Party people came out, and that was the main catalyst. It's like, don't take away my healthcare, or don't take away, don't give me government healthcare, but take away my Medicare at the same time. Like, you remember that shit? But at the beginning of the Tea Party thing, what they were talking about banks, and they were talking about the bank bailouts, and they were talking about the economy and shit like that. And it just kind of got hijacked by the Koch brothers and all the other, and the Republican Party, and the conservative element in the Republican Party, and the Koch brothers and the corporations, and Freedom Works and shit like that, sort of hijacked that movement, and they changed it. And instead of talking about the bank bailouts and that kind of thing, they started talking about healthcare and taxes. That was the big thing. They came out to protest taxes when the president, in fact, lowered their fucking taxes. If you remember that shit, right? So anyway, but you know what? They changed the agenda. That's the Tea Party movement was actually pretty highly successful. They changed the agenda so much that in the elections, they managed to sweep the elections, and they got a bunch of fucking Tea Party dipshits fucking elected, and have just basically brought, Congress to a grinding fucking halt over the last year, right? Thanks, Tea Party assholes. Anyway, and I'm glad to see that the Tea Partiers have kind of fizzled out and gone away finally, and they're just a distant memory now. Good, because fuck them. Which is also something else that, how come none of you right-winger dickheads were out there supporting the Occupy movement? I mean, they were kind of protesting the exact same shit you people were protesting before, you allowed the corporations to hijack your fucking protest. But anyway, that's another video. Anyhow, the Occupy movement, and while we're comparing them, they've changed the agenda back. They changed it back from deficit spending and taxes that the Tea Party people focused on, and now it's back to fucking the economy and the fucking banks and bank corruption and the financial collapse and unemployment and other social issues like homelessness and social justice and so on, And that's a good thing. That's success right there. It's like now we got politicians talking about what you want to talk about. They're talking about it on the news. Even fucking even if you get something like Fox News where all they do is make fun of it, you know what? They're talking about it, right? There's no such thing as bad publicity, okay? That means that the movement got to them. It's working, and they have to deal with your agenda, right? That's a success, okay? Now, it's a first step, and it's an important first step, but it's just the beginning, right? And the question I see is, me personally, where do we go from here, right? And personally, I think that the movement should move away from these extended long-term live-in protests that have been happening. That's kind of been the focus of the movement up until now, was just they were trying to replicate what happened in Egypt. They went up and we'll just live here until they do what we say. Well, you know what, you got your message out, but that's kind of as far as you can take that, in my opinion. I mean, I'm no fucking expert at these things. It's just, but what I think they should do is more things, more actions, kind of like Bank Transfer Day. You remember that back in November 5th? It was a bunch of people, it was in reaction to the $5 fee. What it was there was a law that got passed, part of financial reform, that said that a bank couldn't charge you, they used to charge you 44 cents, and now they lowered that to 25 cents, right? And the banks saw that they were going to lose about $5 a person, and that $5 a person per month, which when you add that up over millions of people comes to a lot of money. So they basically tried to shove that up onto their customers, saying, well, now we're gonna charge you a $5 fee. What are you gonna do about it? Fuck you. That's what the bank said. And then so people started moving their fucking money out of the banks and into fucking credit unions and things like that. And they did it on the 5th, and somewhere in the area of $4.5 billion got moved from the big banks into small credit unions, and that was fucking awesome. All right, that I commend that. That kicks ass. And you know what? That's the kind of thing that we need to be doing. We need to move. We need to move our money away from these large banks and investment firms that melted the fucking economy down. That they collapsed the economy, made a shitload of money doing it, and now the government, in order to pay for that stuff, is having to cut social programs and entitlement programs that we paid in our entire fucking lives, and now we're not going to get because of these rich assholes gambled with our money, right? So let's just cut them off from the source. Let's stop giving them our fucking money. And it's that's what we need to be doing, Don't just stop with one bank transfer day, dude. Let's have it every month, Let's have it Let's have the 5th of every month be, bank transfer day. Move your money out of the banks, and don't just stop with don't stop with just bank accounts. Like, why not have a stock transfer day? Okay, why not have a 401k transfer day, or a fucking home loan transfer day? Okay, like, move your fucking home loan out of Bank of America into a smaller bank. All right, because fuck them. Okay, I mean, they've already shown that they don't give a shit about you. All they care about is money for themselves. So fuck them, take away their money. These are the kinds of actions that get results. Okay, they got results. Bank transfer day got results, and they all the big banks said, okay, we're not going to charge you this fee. Well, even though they're probably going to sneak it in somewhere else, but and that's the kind of thing that gets people's attentions, and that's the kind of thing that actions like that get politicians' attentions too. Okay, see, when you are willing to do something yourself without them, that's the thing. That's how you control a politician, right? Is that you make it known that you don't need them. See, politicians think like this. Okay, if there's a crisis and I'm not the one solving that crisis, then they don't need me, and I'm not going to get reelected. So, and if you're solving the crisis by yourself, suddenly they're going to jump on top of it, and that's what we want. We want them to be on our side. We want us to control them, okay, not the other way around. All right, and just keep in mind, these public servants is essentially what they are. Okay, your congressman, your fucking your representative, they should be there to fucking work for you. Okay, and if they're not working for you, you're not doing something right. Okay, so get them to work for you. And anyway, but kind of got a little bit off of track there, but anyhow, now a lot of people out there in this movement, it seems like they're ready to throw in the towel, and I can understand, because frustration is pretty high right now. People went out and they protested, and they see nothing happening. Then the cops come out and they pepper spray everyone, and they bulldoze all their shit down, and take everybody away, and nobody gets held accountable. People get injured and shit like that, and the one cop in Occupy New York who went up and pepper sprayed those ladies, that started this whole thing before it blew up, that guy got transferred to his home neighborhood, and they took away 10 vacation days, okay, for spraying toxic chemicals in somebody's fucking eye who was peacefully protesting. That's what happened to him, right? People see shit like that. Then they see fucking Bill O'Reilly go on TV and tell everybody to take a shower and get a job, and then Megyn Kelly come on saying it's a food product, essentially. They see that shit, and then they get frustrated and angry, and they lose faith in the system. And I just gotta tell you people that I'm not ready to give up in the system of our system of government. I'm not ready to give up so early, because I don't think that it's past the point of no return just yet. Okay, it could be that way if we don't do something about it. I mean, sure, the system is corrupt. Okay, sure, it's broken, but I don't think it's because of anything inherent in the system. I think it's because it's corrupt because people in America have been so goddamn apathetic for the last 50 years. Okay, we haven't had a significant amount of political participation in this country since the fucking civil rights movement. Okay, since the Vietnam War ended, people kind of went to sleep after that. They went out and then they elected Ronald fucking Reagan, and shit just went downhill ever since then. And it's if it's not going to work for you if you don't actually do any work. Okay, you have to go out. It takes effort to be politically active. All right. And so I say to the Occupy people out there, right, who are right now, the people out there who are frustrated and they think that none of it's worth it, and they're ready to fucking, turn violent, which I think is a major mistake. Okay, I say to those people, don't give up. Keep coming back, all right? And, when the cops come, right, and they come to fucking kick you out of the park, let them evict you, okay? And let them arrest you, let them confiscate your stuff. And as soon as you get out of jail, just go right back to where you were in the first place and set up camp again, all right? And when they come and they pepper spray you and shit, then, and the fucking people on TV just make fun of you because they're a bunch of fucking, tools, essentially, just keep coming back over and over. day after day and keep divorcing yourself from the system, okay? Pull your money out of the banks, all right? Put your money, pull them away from the banks and the huge corrupting fucking investment firms that caused all this shit. Move your stocks into a small private broker if you have any, okay? Move your loans away from fucking the huge banks like Bank of America. Fuck them. Don't take out loans with them anymore. If you have a loan with them, refinance it with a smaller company, all right? Get rid of that shit, okay? And write your goddamn congressman, all right? You need to be doing that, all right? Contact your congressman, contact your representative, all right? Tell them what you want. And when they come and they have to your district and they have those town halls, show up, okay? Go to those fucking things, all right? They do that all the time. Congressmen, especially now, they have these winter breaks and they come back and they hold a town hall to basically say, well, this is what fucking 1,000 people should be going to that. If you have one in your district, right? You should be overwhelming that. There should be so many people. Lines should be around the block and everybody should be saying the exact same thing. Tell them what you want, okay? Hundreds of thousands of people should be there, fucking in front of the White House every day, demanding that they do something about this fucking crisis. And when they see there's a movement of people out there who are actually not going to go away, right, and are going to do something about it, they'll join. You'll start getting them to join your side, okay? If they see that, if I join this movement, I'll get reelected, right? They'll fucking do what you want them to do, okay? That's how democracy works, all right? And that's how it's been working for 200 years, okay? But it only works if you make it work for you, all right? And don't give up. So, adios, people.